So if, so I guess we, as you're saying there, I guess we can expect perhaps a lot of tweets, right? That would just be part of free expression by whether it's the current MLA or the parties themselves. If during, I mean, we're in the campaign period now. I mean, it started officially July 1st, and this show's going out, of course, in the month of September. This will be picking up, particularly, as you say, once your kits go out, people get more informed. I guess we'll start hearing more about advertising from various groups through late September and October. If people think that they're hearing about misinformation or distortion, or is there a role that your office plays if someone felt they contacted your organization to say, I'm hearing what I think to be untrue or distortions? Is there a role or monitoring or fact-checking role that your organization will be playing in that?
So first and foremost, as I said, our role is to administer the referendum and administer the, that includes the voting and the campaign finance provisions around there.
Right.
And so that's, we need to be neutral, we need to be transparent, we need to be nonpartisan in doing that. To us, that means we don't get involved in the debate.
Right.
So there's going to be different points of view put forward by participants in the process. What someone may view as a pro for a system, another person may view as a con for the system. And so our role is not to vet the content of referendum advertising, like we don't vet the content of election advertising, except we make sure that the sponsorship statement is there and present on all advertising. Where we will step in, though, it's around the process. So if there's misinformation out there about who can participate, you need to be a Canadian citizen, you need to be 18 years of age or older as of November 30th, you need to have resided in the province for 6 months immediately preceding November 30th, 2018. So if someone says, well, landed immigrants can participate, we would correct that, because that is about the process. So anything about the process, the dates, the deadlines, how to participate, we'll correct that. And we're going to be monitoring social media so we can respond to inquiries coming in for certain. We'll also be proactive using social media to provide links to our information and that sort of thing throughout the campaign.
Well, as you well know, speaking of elections, we've got municipal elections running in the province this fall as well. And any concerns there? How does that complicate your role here? I mean, again, the campaign is well and truly on, but we're going to have this parallel process of local elections and council elections. Does that pose any challenges for you from an Elections BC point of view, managing these processes, or making sure the messages that you want to get out around the referendum are clearly heard and not kind of lost maybe in some of the noise and activity and excitement, if I can call it excitement, in some municipal elections. But yeah, some of the other issues that may be there front of center for people. It seems to be, it's an interesting challenge for you to have to face. But thoughts on that, as how that plays out, or anything you're doing different in the delivery of the referendum process because it's a municipal election year? Or?
So for sure, it's complex, and it's complicated because we have overlapping campaign periods. So the election period is September 22nd through October 20th, and so that overlaps with the referendum campaign period. Again, like for referendum advertising, there's rules, and again, I would say that if you're going to be speaking or advertising, I should say, local election, then contact us. You need to register, and there's different rules around that, different spending limits, that sort of thing, depending upon the jurisdiction. I think a really good rule of thumb is separation. So referendum advertising sponsors, you can continue throughout the local campaign to do your referendum advertising, put forward your referendum messages, but don't do election advertising. Similarly, election advertising sponsors or the local candidates or electoral organizations, they can do their election advertising as long as the sponsors are registered, but don't do referendum advertising at the same time.
I've already heard a few candidates here in the Lower Island who in their materials for whatever are stating positions on the referendum itself. I mean, they're talking about their local sewage issues, their housing issues, their local parks, their local municipal issues, but they're also, some of them are talking about the referendum. Any concerns there or risks that they're blurring the campaigns, or?
And it's interesting, and again, there's lots of detail in the regulation and the legislation around that. One thing that we're doing specifically is if in an advertisement, a local advertisement, they're talking about their election issues,
Right.
they happen to mention something about the referendum, that's all treated from a financial perspective as election advertising, so that there's no way that they could kind of circumvent the spending limits
Right.
locally. So that's just one of the things that we're
Okay,
doing in there.
okay.